Steak. There we go. Art, my man. Everybody who's tuning in right now, if you're like, what's going on right now? I'm watching a metal god play some funky music. Everybody, Art Cruz from Lamb of God. He's here today. And the reason we started with that tune, which was killer, by the way.
Thank you.
Is
I don't know what I'm playing. I'm learning on the cuff right now.
It's all good. we're always learning, right?
Yeah.
Is that I think we a lot of times assume that metal drummers or any style drummers, jazz drummers, anything, that's all they live, breathe, sleep, eat, all that stuff. But we're like, no, man, there's such a much bigger story here, and yours is fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So we're going to go on a journey today, everybody. We're going to learn all about Art Cruz's journey, the making of a metal drummer. Why? Because it's really important to acknowledge all those levels in our time as a person, as a drummer, and you're going to learn a lot more about him. You're going to learn a lot more about music, and you're probably going to learn a little bit more about yourself on the drum department today, which starts right now. Art, I'm so excited that you're here, and I'm so glad you were willing to do this episode.
Absolutely.
So you were saying you've never really taken the plunge to go through your own history.
No, when you actually first hollered at me about this particular episode, you're like, yeah, let's talk about where your identity came from, where did your sound come from, how did you become a metal drummer? And it's funny because I'd never really focused on working backwards, like on where or what got me playing the drums, or even playing what didn't come till later, but actually the interest in the sound of drums and what exactly that was. And that's why it's kind of interesting that we opened with Soul Vaccination.
Yeah.
You'll get a little bit more into that part of the story soon, but I'm happy to be here. I haven't played any of these types of tunes probably since I was a kid.
Awesome.
And that's just through the chaos of the music industry.
Yeah, career, right?
Yeah, man.
So Lamb of God is your current gig.
Yes, sir.
You've, I guess, made a name for yourself as a pretty awesome metal drummer. That's kind of what you've been known for. But let's go all the way back, turn the clock all the way back to the beginning. And where did this all start? Like, were you like, what started you on the drums?
Yeah, I think the deep truth was the household. Obviously, music around the house, your parents and what they listen to can be a huge influence. But it actually wasn't that quite yet. It was my culture.
Okay.
Yeah, it was my culture, the Mexican-American culture, the Chicano culture of East Los Angeles specifically. And not only the culture of family and the passion for family, but music brought us together, whether it be a birthday party, a quinceañera, or a wedding. Music surrounded my household, and specifically, it was the sound of a conga drum.
Okay.
And it wasn't the drum set. The drum set did not come till like a little bit later, where I started to understand what drum sets were. But it started with the conga and the sound of the conga and the sound of percussion and noise and the Afro-Cuban type stuff. And specifically, it was Santana.
Okay, yeah, because that was your first concert, right?
That was my first. That also became my first concert when I was about 12. Yeah.
So let's take a bit of a journey here. So we've got a bunch of tracks queued up from your history here, which is a lot of fun. So I've got here from Santana. We'll leave one of them for later because we're going to talk about it at the end.
Yeah.
But let's go with Jingo.
Yeah.
Right, because I think that really touches that exact thing. So I think it starts with congas, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Let's give a little listen to this and just check this out. All right, so that tune, and a lot of Santana stuff in that era, you've got this really cool combination of what I would say is rock drumming, and I mean, it gets a little bit crazy beyond that, but it's true Latin percussion with like kind of Western drumming style, and like that's like heavy toms.
Very tribal, thunderous, kind of Afro-Cuban, thunderous. Just, I mean, immediately when you hear that song, it's just you hear the build-up and it's just intense. Like as a kid, that's what kind of just had me like, whoa.
Right.
Kind of
Okay,
scared me.
I
you know?
gotta ask, because you
Yeah.
got these two rad floor toms here. Can
Yeah.
you just play what that drum part would sound like to you? What does that sound like to you to play on the drum kit as it sits? Here?
It would probably sound like this. Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah.
And but like you say, like even with your heritage, there's a little bit in that style and the way that you're playing that's still got that Latin edge to it.
Correct.
Even though you're just playing eighth notes and quarter notes.
Yeah.
Really, right?
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
have no
Who
idea.
cares, right? Oh, it's so great.
Yeah.
So with Santana, you probably, I mean, it's pretty hard not to get excited about drum sets. So did you get a
Yeah.
drum kit after that? When did you get your first
Oh
drum
man, it's so much later in the story.
Really?
It's
Okay, we'll
like
get to that.
Later.
can't
This
wait.
is super later.
We're
but-
gonna go. This one really surprises me. Not Santana, but very much Congos.
Yes.
Congos, pardon.
Yeah.
Congos. Why would I say that? Ricky Ricardo.
Ricky Ricardo.
I got to hear the story before we play the song.
Absolutely. So the purpose of that and why, and this was a shocker too, because I forgot that he played such a huge role in my interest to drumming.
Okay.
But as a kid, if I was homesick or if I just was not, if there was no school for some reason, my grandmother, who is still with us to this day, she's 98, I would watch I Love Lucy with her.
Okay.
It was always I Love Lucy and then The Price is Right. But it was
course.
part of our morning, you know. She would make me breakfast and she would just understand that I would watch I Love Lucy. But it was, obviously I was already interested in the sound of drums, but once you get that perspective and the episodes come up where he starts to play Babalu and he's hitting the conga, and at this point my dad and my mother are already showing me what a conga is because Santana's doing it.
Yeah.
And I can hear it because I'm asking questions probably, but that was a very pivotal moment when he was just playing one drum. And it was a moment that I would look forward to watching it.
So if you've never heard Babalu, this is probably from early 50s, late 40s.
Yeah.
Check this out. We got some bongos in there for
Yeah.
sure. Conga.
Conga.
Big band. So metal when you do it. I love it. I love that
Yeah.
that would inspire. I mean, I don't know how, like, as a kid, it'd be like, hey, I'd be like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Here? It's really rad.
Yeah. Very pivotal moment though, man. And he made it look so fun because he was smiling and he was such an impactful like player, performer. It was I mean, that was his character, but that was also like genuinely in his blood, and he would rip and his hair would get messed up. And I was like, I was enthralled by the
Wanna
situation.
do whatever that is.
Whatever that was, it looked great. Yeah.
All right. Let's move forward a little bit here. So when does the drum set come into play?
Still hasn't happened.
Okay.
The drum set comes into play very, very quickly after I become obsessed with percussion.
Okay.
So it
Did you
started.
play hand percussion at all
I
before
did.
that?
My dad,
Okay.
and that was like the start. Is like my parents. You know, when you first, as a drummer, depending if your parents are interested in what you're playing, or they kind of think of it as like it's just a fad or something like that, or just something he's interested in right now. That was the way it was. Like, oh, let's get him a bongo.
Okay.
Like, and that's where it probably ends.
Yeah.
And it did technically kind of end. I got older into my young, not teenagers. Yeah, I was still a kid, but the transition happened with my uncle, who was in an East Los Angeles horn-powered rock band, if you will.
Okay.
They were a cover band, but they played at every party that we had. They were, Uncle has a band. Let's just use his band.
Of course, yeah.
But his movement and his band was extremely horn-driven and extremely funky. And they had a couple originals, but they mainly made their career on covers because they were a wedding band.
yeah.
And there was a couple songs that stood out to me the most because that was growing up into those party scenes, as in like I got to finally see a drum set. That was the first time I'd seen a drum set in person. And it was unbelievable, but it was his drummer. And I remember his drummer's name. His drummer's name was Eric. And he had what now I know was a vintage Ludwig kit.
Oh, nice.
So kind of full circle at the same time.
Cool.
But they would play a lot of hits from like the Average White Band. Specifically, a big one was Brick House by the Commodores.
Yeah.
And it starts with that intro, and it always had me locked in and seeing people do that.
You mean this one here?
Yes.
That's so funky.
It's just has everything in that element. It's groovy, it's funky, but that was the introduction to funk. Was being able to see my uncle's band, and he would just try and give me history lessons on the big bands that had horns.
Yeah.
Chicago was another
Sure.
inspiration, but obviously, going back to what you heard me opening with, whatever I was playing to Soul Vaccination by Tower of Power, but Tower of Power really stood out to me.
Nice. Well, sure.
And it was so advanced for me back then that I didn't know what I was doing.
Are you kidding? It's advanced for everybody still.
I'm still struggling with it. I play it the way I feel like I'm gonna play it, and it's super fun.
All right, let's get into that for a second, because we opened with that. Let's talk a little bit about that, because the question I threw at you before we went on air was, when you sit down, because every drummer, if you're not a drummer, this is something we all do, and it's like you sit down on a drum kit and someone says, play something.
Oh, dude.
We have our go-tos.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I got to play something interesting. If I just play time, it's fun. But it's like, they're not going to be too stoked about that. So I got to give them a little bit of pizzazz, right? And so you said, actually, it's Soul Vaccination. I was like, oh, okay, that's heavy. You're throwing it down. So, and because you've learned by ear completely, you had to dissect one of the hardest drum parts in that era by ear, which is really commendable.
Yeah.
But show us how you play it.
Yeah,
Just
it's
play the groove.
probably not the way it's supposed to be played, but the way that I heard it.
Matters not. It's how do you hear it?
Yeah.
Like,
So
show us how you play it.
It's technically the verse that I always play, so I'll play the verse. I was in Santana mode.
Ah, yes, of course.
I was playing by myself. Here we go. 2, 3, 4.
Cool. Now, was that one of those things where you're like, I know this is harder than something I'm capable of playing right now,
Yes.
but I don't care. I'm just going to learn how to do it?
Precisely what happens, because I still just add things, you know what I mean, from what I feel. But I think initially when I first heard that, I didn't hear kick drum. I didn't hear toms. I didn't hear accents, ghost notes.
Okay.
I heard the accents only of the snare.
Yeah.
Ka, ka,
Right.
ka, ka. That's all I heard. And the psst, psst.
Right. These are signature parts of that groove.
And those are the only two things that I actually connected with. So I worked backwards.
Right.
Trying to figure out what that was. Later learning that that's what a linear groove kind of is,
sure.
right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely something that it took me over many years to do, but that is the lick that I always play, no matter what kit I jump on.
I love it.
Whether it's a showboat thing or something that's like a comfort zone, I've been learning it the whole time just by jumping on a kit.
Now, I believe you mentioned to me, too, that because it's sort of been a jumping off point for you, that's kind of worked itself into some of the parts you've created over the years.
Yes. Yeah,
Can you give us
actually.
an example of that?
Yeah, so I think one specific song, it's a Lamb of God song off of our record, Omens. It's the last song off of that album. And it was kind of something that the band never really did. But it was a decision by our producer, Josh Wilbur, who was like, we need something in this time. We need something that has a build.
Oh, okay.
And the song was very emotional. It feels like it's very emotional. So he pretty much gave me a click track. Hey, we need something like right here. And I ended up coming up with the beat, but it's very much a variation of Soul Vaccination.
You know I'm going to ask you to show us.
Of course. And the song's called September Song. So let me see if I can remember it. Yeah.
That's amazing. Like,
It's the same in
It's-
in its own way.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest lesson in Carolyn Ellis we take away from today. Like that is so, drummers are always so worried about, oh, I'm not playing it totally right.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes we really strive to do things exactly like it should be, or
course.
like it is, whatever you want to say. You learn the Purdy shuffle, you like, I kind of want to play it like Bernard did as best we can. But sometimes the beauty falls in, not having all of the, you come at it as a new drummer and you're like, I know I can't quite play this yet.
Yeah.
But it sort of lives with you and stays in your back pocket for your whole life.
Yeah.
And it's like, now you have a position in your life where you're like, actually, I have just the thing.
That will work for that.
And it comes from when I started this journey, which
Yeah.
is so emotionally connecting. And it's like, but it's also like, I love that because we all learn from all of our experiences in the drumming and everything. But it's like when you can draw on that and be like, you know what? That's something I've been working on since I was 12.
And unknowingly, did I even realize that? No, up until the tempo was just there. And all my guitar player, Mark, was doing was he was just so he kind of just laid it out. I'm like, oh, that actually works. I can just do something very linear and very David Garibaldi. This works. Cool.
So cool.
Yeah.
Did you think of it that way when you did it? Were you
Yes.
like, okay.
Yeah. I was very like, oh, this is what David Garibaldi would do. Let me do that.
And then listening back, you're like, oh my God, that works.
Yeah.
And you're like, I got that on a record.
Yeah. And it works. I'm super stoked about it. I
that's
love
awesome.
that. I love that.
I gotta ask, what
Yeah.
was your first drum kit?
My first drum kit was a hand-me-down. I grew up in East LA, man. We don't have a lot of stuff growing up like that. It was a hand-me-down from my stepmother's brother. He had a drum kit from when he was a teenager, and he was always listening to like punk rock. And I remember going to my dad's house all the time and seeing it in the attic, like
Sure.
up in the, and it was full of dust. And I'm like, but I was already obsessed with the vision, the visual representation of drums, and I seen it, and I was like, whoa, where can I get on those, or can I try those, or can I see those? And I had to convince my dad for a while, but I ended up getting that kit. I think it was like a CP percussion.
Okay.
If that was even a brand, I think.
Could
or
be, yeah.
Before SP.
Oh, yeah.
Before sound percussion, it was like
Right.
its own CP percussion or something like that. But it was a small kit, and it had a bunch of tape and dust, and I just played that for a long time. And I would go to friends' houses that actually had a drum kit, and I would just play their stuff.
I love it.
For a very, very long time.
I'm going to tie this into something right now because a lot of folks are in the live chat right now and they're watching this. There's over 2,000 folks watching right now.
Hello.
Yeah, exactly. Hello. So welcome to everybody that's watching right now. And a lot of you are waiting because we are going to announce the winner of a drum kit giveaway. So we have an opportunity today to give someone a new drum set so they can start the journey that you were just talking about.
That makes me so happy.
Right?
I'm actually really stoked to be on this. But once the winner's announced and you guys leave, we'll still be here.
That's right. That's right. We have lots to cover.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that's great. So we've talked about a bunch of cool stuff with how the funk worked with you. Let's get a little bit farther ahead here. Let's talk about, we can go somewhere in the grunge area or the hip hop area. Where do you want to go next?
At this point, we can go with the hip hop world.
Okay. Which is a bit of a surprise to me when you were like, I got a bunch of hip hop.
Yeah, I mean, you are what you are surrounded by and what's popular.
Sure.
At the time of even like right now. I was just speaking at my old high school and listening one by one to each person's musical, like what they would listen to if they were on a deserted island. They can only listen to one artist, and it was just constantly what you would imagine. Drake.
Yes. Canadian.
The Weeknd.
Canadian.
Yeah, well, there you go.
How about that?
And a ton of that.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift, and that's
Post
cool.
Malone.
And I get it. I actually love Post Malone.
Me too. Yeah.
I love Post Malone. But it's like super eye-opening to me to remember like what was happening when I was in that age group. And for me, it was rap. It was a lot of Chicano rap. In this case, Cypress Hill
Sure.
was a massive, massive impact on me at that time. they were rapping in Spanish, they were doing all that good stuff, but there was an element that really, this is kind of where the gear started to be curious and change, and the element was when they did Rap Superstar, but it was a rock version.
Ah, okay.
And they had a drum kit come in at that point. So I'm listening to rap, and then I hear this variation of Rap Superstar, and it's like, oh, it's still cool because he's rapping.
Right.
And another weird segue from that would be a very big impact change for me was Rage Against the Machine.
Right.
And the way that was introduced to me was through Cypress Hill, because Rage plays a cover of How I Could Just Kill a Man. And it just, in that little circle of my timeline, I just started listening to heavier things, thanks to Rage and Cypress Hill.
That's fantastic. I love that combination. Like you said, like listening to hip hop and you're like, it's mostly loops, right?
Yeah.
And then you heard a version with the drum set, because they probably, I would imagine at the time, they were like, we want to get this on all radio, so let's add some rock to it. We'll get it on rock radio.
Correct.
When I was a kid, I'm a little bit older than you.
Yeah.
This is going to sound totally lame. I was a kid from the burbs, so forgive me, everybody.
Okay.
I'm going to bare my soul now. MC Hammer.
Whoa.
Had some tunes, I know. Hey, Rick James, everybody, come on now.
I love Rick James.
There we go. But I remember when he was on tour, I was watching him on Saturday Night Live, and they had a full live band, which kind of was like, whoa, hold on a second here, right? Guys playing big double bass drum kit, right? And I was like, wait, he's got a drummer. This, like, when they play live, it's like a band. I was like, oh, I just assumed he was like, rapping in a track.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Okay, let's check out that Superstar track. This is the original version.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's relatively clean. We'll find out in a second.
People just don't see how much work is really involved in this rap. I didn't know it. I didn't see it. I never saw it until I was actually in it. You really gotta be in it to understand what it's like. But people always gotta see you smile. You always gotta put on that fake, you know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what you just
So
been
you
through,
wanna be a rap
shit has gotta be
superstar
right.
and live large, a big house, 5 cars, you're in charge. Coming up in the world, don't trust nobody, gotta look over your shoulder constantly. I remember the days when I was a young kid growing up, looking in the mirror, dreaming about blowing up the rock crowd, make money, chill with the honey, sign autographs, and whatever the people want from me. Funny how
Totally.
It's just, and it's funny because that version doesn't have the drums.
That's right.
But that's what you feel as a drummer, and that's what I felt. It was kind of reeling me back into, because I still don't really have a drum kit of my own. I'm just borrowing and playing whenever I have it. So it's kind of reeling me in. You know what I mean? Because I'm stuck in rap world.
Yeah.
And it totally reeled me in back into the drums when I heard that.
So if you didn't have a drum kit that whole time, did you, like, was the passion there to a point where you're like, I'm going to do whatever I have to do whenever I get a chance to play it. I'm going to make sure I take advantage of that?
Absolutely. And it was kind of just, even the rap I was listening to, I was always doing something with a pencil or in school and playing on shoe boxes. That was a big thing. On my Nike Cortez and Adidas shoe boxes, I was just playing with pencils and pens, and just because that was my thing. And I was in class, I would not be the best student, and I'd be tapping on stuff all the time. So who doesn't?
I was gonna say drummers are worse for that, but I mean, I think a lot of folks, we all do that, right?
Yeah, yeah, totally.
And then you mentioned Rage, of course. I think that's a
Yeah.
huge influence for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
Brad Wilk is like,
The man.
yeah,
And he has like funk elements too.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that, again, that kind of just drew my attention.
Actually, let's do two things back to back. I was
Yeah.
gonna play two clips
Yeah.
because you made me think of something else. You also had a Chili Peppers tune.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's listen to both of these just a little bit, because I want you to guys listen to the difference between how Chad lays it down and how Brad lays it down. And you'll notice they're similar, but there's a heaviness to Wilk, right? Okay, here's this is a song you chose for the Chili Peppers. I'll fast forward a little bit. Of course I go there, it's fine. Yeah. Now, you trying to tell me he's not influenced by Cypress Hill in that track?
Has to be, right?
Right? He's got that same kind of tone in his voice. Eminem, too. Come
Yeah.
on. Here's Testify by Rage. Let's move ahead a little bit. All right, so
Super.
you've got now. Granted, those are different styles,
Yeah.
but Chad Smith is more likely to go more funky with things. He'll get a little more ornate. Him and Flea will dance a little bit.
Yeah.
I find with Brad Wilk, it's the emotional connection that he has. It's just if it's songs angry, he plays angry.
Yes.
And there's just a heaviness. Like he's playing funky, but it's like big fat hi-hats.
Correct.
It's not like
Yeah.
doesn't get clean ever. And so
Not a bad thing.
not at all. Not at all. Did you ever see Rage live? I'm curious.
Nope.
Yeah, me neither, man.
Hopefully, that would be the sickest tour if one day Lamb of God and Rage toured.
Oh,
That would be
yeah.
that would be awesome. We're a little different. Oh, it's different, but it's the same in a weird way. So, putting that out into the universe.
Why don't we just, yeah, for sure, exactly. Yeah. And in case you're all wondering, I'm sure there's folks out there curious, have you been offered the job of Slipknot yet? No, I'm kidding. Joking.
How did I know he was gonna say something like that? I knew it. I knew it.
That's right.
man.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
See you later.
Yeah.
We're good.
No, it's funny because I think there's going to be a lot of conversation about
I'm
who
curious.
gets that job.
I'm curious, man. I'm curious.
Are you a Slipknot fan?
I'm a Slipknot fan. Joey was a huge inspiration for my drumming later.
Sure.
We can talk about him later, but I mean, Joey's another example of an emotional drummer and just played what he felt like, and and this is a big change. We'll see what happens.
All right, so we got a lot more to go through.
Yeah.
We're just gonna pick a couple more. So it's just like a movie, you kind of dig deep in a couple spots and then we flash forward.
Got it.
All right, so we've talked about hip hop. We talked about kind of the rap rock. I hate to say it that way, but
Yeah.
those are the in my mind those are the
It's what it is.
Those are the good
Yeah.
ones. No.
Yeah.
Draw your own conclusions. So now we get kind of deeper into. I mean, System of a Down is a metal band, but they almost defy categorization.
It was at that time. I mean, the new metal, rock, hard rock, grunge has already kind of went. It didn't go away necessarily. This is early 2000s at this point. So, System was a big influence too, and it was another gateway from Rage. It was an easy transition for me to understand like heavy.
Right.
So, in particular, the System of a Down self-titled album was a big deal for me. Yeah. Raw, real, just whatever it was.
I'm gonna get you to play some Soil. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's
Cool.
do it.
So this has some odd time in it.
If I mess this up, it's actually going to be, I'm actually stoked if I mess this up, because going back now, the fact that I played this when I was like 16 or 15 years old, I'm actually shocked that I was getting through it.
Right.
Because it's so weird and the timing is so weird. But we'll see, whatever. I've never, this is the first time I've actually been able to play it since I was like 15, so let's do it.
I love it. Let's put it on record then, shall we?
Oof.
Jack, you ready in there?
Let's do it with the click.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Here we go. Let's check it out. Soil by System of a Down.
Oh my God, I forgot about that part.
Me too. That's fun. The audience is going wild, by the way.
Okay.
That's all
Sorry,
good.
kids.
Yeah, I forgot. This is not the After
totally-
Dark episode.
I totally forgot.
It's okay. That's awesome. What a great ending, though. Just
Oh.
oh, that's awesome.
Oh,
Dude,
man.
that killed, man. They loved it.
I haven't played that since I was like 15 or 16 years, straight up. And that's the honest truth. Where's the camera that I'm looking into? This one. I literally have not played that since I was like 16 years old. Like, that's the first time. And if you think I've had time to prepare for all of this, you're completely wrong. And that's what the music business is like.
That's fair. Yeah.
Super wild.
Yeah, that's true. All right. You know what? We can't top that. Now, you are going to do a live session with Brandon on Wednesday.
Yes.
Going to cover all about Lamb of God.
Yes.
So there's
Yes.
that. There's these folks out there, though. I think we should probably announce the winner of this drum kit.
Let's do it. I know they're waiting.
Before we go too far with that, though, I just need to tease them a little bit further. I'm glad you guys are hanging out here today. Please stick around with us and check it out. What I can also tell you is, if you love what we do here at Drumeo, this is just one of the things we do. We have all kinds of lessons. We have a great library of songs. If you want to check that out, you want to take some lessons on drums, you want to do it virtually, which is awesome. You can do that through Drumeo. All you need to do is go to drumeo.com and you will get a free 7-day trial. Super simple. Thank you for the screen ad there, too. And yes, thank you. Can we please get Art on this? Yes. Art is showing us 7 days.
7 days.
7 days. Thanks, Art. Appreciate that. All right. Time has come. Let's give away. We are giving away a drum kit. It's a Yamaha Stage Custom Birch, complete with the hardware, drum throne, and a set of Sabian B8X cymbals. We're giving this away to anybody in the world that put their name in for the draw. So there was over 50,000 people.
Bro.
Right?
Oh, wow.
No pressure, huh?
Oh, man. I'm actually stoked for whoever gets this because now I can't wait. Now I'm excited.
I'm a little bit nervous myself.
I'm freaking out.
So I'm just waiting for the name to come up here. Okay, I've got it. Art, would you do me the honors? Would you give me a double 18 floor tom roll?
How
So I
the
can
heck
announce
would I
things?
do that?
I don't know. Figure it out.
Like,
Congratulations to Stephanie D87. I'll be emailing you right after this episode. You have won Yamaha Stage Custom Birch 5-piece drum kit, full hardware package, Yamaha drum throne, and a Sabian B8X cymbal package. Congratulations.
Dude.
Everybody else out there, don't leave. Stick with us. We got some more fun. In fact, we're going to go right into the next thing.
oh, they're leaving.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'll put up with that. All right, I want to do something a little fun with you now, Art. This is just a fun thing we like to call. You ready, Jack? I know you are. We're gonna do blast beats. It's so helpful when we have a drummer that plays blast beats here. That's great. So
It
we're gonna
doesn't
do
actually have anything to do with blast beats?
sort of. So it's rapid fire questions, like
Oh.
blasted questions. So you're gonna get 20 questions in 60 seconds. You have to answer them all. There's no right or wrong answers, but if you answer them all in 60 seconds, what's that? Oh, I'll keep talking. You got it. Me talk? If you get all 20 through in the minute,
Okay.
we're gonna give away a prize. Today, you know what? I'm gonna go a little bit off our script here today, because I have 2 of these. We're gonna talk about this device here in a second. Yeah, I'm throwing you guys everywhere with the cameras. We're gonna talk about this product in a sec. This is a wing thing by Morgenstein Tool. We're gonna talk about this thing, which is really cool. I'll
I
give away
personally
one
love
of
it.
these. Oh, there we go. Already have
I
your
know, I
endorsements on it.
am not paid to talk about loving that, but you showed me it earlier and I'm like tightening everything.
He was.
Yeah.
He was tightening and loosening
Yeah.
everything. He was running around the building tightening things. It was great.
Yeah.
Do we have a clock, everybody? We do. Awesome. All right, you ready?
I guess so.
Okay. So
Drumeo.
I'm going to count them down. You're going to get 60 seconds. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Nylon tip or wood tip sticks?
Wood tip.
Okay. Favorite place on the planet?
Italy.
Heel up or heel down?
Both.
What music are you listening to right now?
Santana every day.
Nice. Coated or clear drum heads?
Clear.
Artist you want to work with?
Mike Portnoy.
Cymbals, clean or dirty?
Both.
Golf or tennis?
Tennis.
Chain strap or direct drive pedals?
Direct drive.
TV or movies?
Movies.
How many snare drums is too many?
2.
White wine or red wine?
Red.
Single or double pedal?
Double.
Flying or driving?
Driving.
Are concert toms still cool?
Absolutely.
Suit or t-shirt?
Suit.
Lacquer or wrapped drums?
Wrapped.
Steak or seafood?
Steak.
LP or streaming?
LP.
Wrestling or drumming?
Jerk. Drumming.
Nailed it.
Oh, we did it.
I always throw the last question. I always try and find something that's perhaps two passions. And you mentioned earlier that you're a big fan of wrestling.
Dude,
so. Who's your favorite wrestler?
Of all time?
Yes.
The Ultimate Warrior.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a good choice.
His promos it's just unbelievable.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's give away one of these cool wing things to someone out there on YouTube. Hey, most of you stayed. I'm very
I
impressed.
love that.
Thank you
I
for
love
that. We're going to give away this wing thing. We're going to explain what it does in a second. But you know what? This is the first time I've ever given something away. They didn't even show what it does. But we're going to do it. I need a number between 1 and 7.
4.
4. Danny W666, you have won one of these wing things. Email me at krad@drumeo.com at your earliest convenience. I will get one of these sent out to you. And now you're going to learn what the heck this darn thing does. It's time for, I'm going to skip ahead. That's what I'm doing. That's what's going to happen. It's time for Groove of the Week. It's so, blah, time for I have to tell you a quick story. Jesus is in the room here. Thanks. Jesus gets to edit these. And he's like, oh, God, what are you doing? All right, it's time for Gear of the Week. Thank you very much. This is the wing thing. I'm going to hand that to you, Art.
Yes.
So these are made by, there's a very famous drummer named Rod Morgenstein who developed this. It's made out of aluminum. It's beautifully coated black matte, so it's perfect for the roadie in your life. But what this is it's a device. Every drummer has the same problem on drum kits, especially when they're not ours, is someone's over-tightened a wing nut, and then we use a pair of drumsticks like these, and then we make a vice grip with them, we try and fumble with it, and then we rack our knuckles and all that stuff. So this tool is designed so you can do all of that super simply. Just gotta find the one that, yeah, exactly. Find the one that fits and off you go, right? I can do that. I'm not gonna do that because there's a symbol on it, but Art has been tightening his entire, there we go.
There it goes. So yeah,
Look
there's
at that. Isn't that great?
And then you get it here, and then you get it here. Boom.
Yeah.
I love it.
So it's made in the USA. It's got a really cool little QR code on it so you can get some more information on them. They are available on their own website, but they're also available in finer drum stores out there. Now, the thing is, we try to be as honest as possible with these. I think it's a bit expensive. How much would you pay for it?
Oh, wow. See,
How much would you pay for it?
that I didn't, I was like, I love it. I love it. It works, but what's the price?
Yeah, how much would you pay for it? Think about it for a second.
$15?
Okay. $59.
What?
59. But there we go. Do you
Gosh.
still want one?
I mean, that makes me sad, but
It's the best review we've ever done.
Oh.
Yeah, but honestly, it is worth the money. Why is it worth the money? It's made in the US and it is built to last. It can go right in your stick bag. You could probably just throw this in the truck and it would last forever. So
that I will say. I will agree that the quality and the matte black is slick, clearly, but it's gonna last you forever.
yeah, and it is a tool you will use often. Like if you're at a situation where you're not playing your drums, or obviously if you are playing your own drums, you can tighten stuff down. But it always seems to be someone else's gear that's stuck. But it's pretty cool.
Wow.
All right. So I want to, we do something every week where we celebrate cool drummers we find out there. And if you've got any names or if you've got any videos of drummers that you've seen on TikTok or Instagram, any of the socials, you're like, you know what, this person's amazing. I'd like to get them featured. We feature them in this segment right now. This is called Groove of the Week.
You got it.
See, you know how this works.
Yeah.
This is good. So Groove of the Week this week, we have a drummer named Jesse Stewart. You can find him at Jesse Stewart Sound. Jesse does all kinds of super cool percussive instruments and funky things, not just drum set. Check out this clip.
I really like them.
gotta get this. You gotta. He's doing it. There you go. There it is. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're like, oh, sorry. Was I?
I was vibing.
I didn't realize that.
That's cool.
I don't even understand what the third thing was, but it's amazing.
Don't know either. The first thing were like brake pads or like disc brakes.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
looked like, right? Yeah. That's cool.
Jesse Stewart Sound, everybody, check him out. Follow him, like him, do all those great things. Love him. I don't care. But some killer stuff he's doing.
So cool.
Out there. I love that stuff. All right. So we're up to the end of the episode. This has been fantastic.
Really?
Yeah, it goes by so fast. Oh. We're going to get you to play at the end here. But I want to give away a couple more prizes because we love doing that. What kind of show gives away prizes all the time? Ours.
I love it.
We're going to give away another one of these wing things to someone in our members area today. Let's see. I need a number between 1 and 10, please, sir.
8.
8. Oh, lovely choice. Kathy Boom Boom, you have won one of these wing things. All you have to, sorry, I shouldn't put it in front of my face. There we go. Wing things. Email me at krad@drumeo.com with your mailing address, and we'll get this sent out to you. Maybe you'll get the one that Art has right now. We'll see. Thanks very much, Kathy Boom Boom. And it wouldn't be a drum department episode if we didn't give away a 1 year's membership to someone out there on YouTube. We have 1,400 folks watching right now. Let's find someone here. You know what, Jesus? Why don't you pick a number, 1 to 5?
Jesus?
3.
3. Okay. It's going to go to, hope I get this right, Bobby Butterfly, B-O-B-Y Butterfly. You have won a 1-year membership to Drumeo. All you need to do is email me. Exactly. We keep missing all this great stuff. We got to get that. Thank you.
Sorry.
Bobby Butterfly, email me at krad@drumeo.com, and we'll get you hooked up with the 1-year membership to Drumeo. Congratulations.
Congrats. That's cool.
Art's going to play us out to a Santana piece.
Never played it, but yeah,
he's never
let's do
played.
it.
Who cares? It's not what we're just going to do it today. And then for those of you in the members chat, we're going to come right back. We're going to answer your questions. You can ask Art any questions you like. Everybody out there on YouTube, thank you for joining. Congratulations to our winner of the Yamaha Stage Custom Birch prize pack. That's awesome. And please, if you like the show, like, subscribe, and we'll see you again soon. Everybody, have yourselves a great week. So enjoy Art. Thanks, everybody.